Yo, what is up there, guys? The Wiz back at it again with another Kingdom Hearts video right here, right now. So let's get right to it. Alright, ever since the conclusion of Kingdom Hearts 3, I can't help but wonder what kind of worlds we will get next. In my last video, we talked about Bug's life and how it could work in the Kingdom Hearts series. Pixar's inclusion into Kingdom Hearts 3 has opened the doors to lots of possibilities, whether it actually appears a full-fledged world, a summon, or just a guest character. Now, this one world in particular that we will be discussing today is a little out there, and it's one that I've always questioned for the longest time. That's right, I'm talking about none other than your boy Walle. Why Walle? Well, to be honest, I actually watched it for the first time the other day, and yes, I know, wow, and the Wiz, you're a little bit late there, buddy, but hey, you know what they say, better late than never. But I gotta say, it was a pretty good movie. I'm actually glad I waited, as my observation skills have grown throughout the years. There are a couple of things I feel like I definitely would have missed had I watched it back then when it first came out, but the story was pretty simple. The world turns to crap and everyone turns fat from being quarantined. Oh boy, better start doing some push-ups before it's too late. I will say though, it really makes me want to hold someone's hand after watching it, but I can't, social distancing. But overall, looking at its story, it's a really simple story. Walle finds a plant, meets Eve, hitches a ride to space, and they have to put the plant on the machine to get back to Earth. And yeah, that was it. Now, the question is, of course, could that work in a Kingdom Hearts game? Honestly, I think any world has the potential to work in a Kingdom Hearts game, but the real question is there enough to make it a full-fledged world? Well, when it comes to Walle, I'm gonna say yes and no. It's an interesting world, but I don't feel like there's as much going on. We essentially have two locations. We have planet Earth and the Axion. Earth would just be a barren wasteland with some tall buildings. Big Hero 6 world, anybody? Now, I'm sure we could explore and find stuff, but it would be pretty boring, which I guess would be the whole point, seeing as how the planet is completely empty of people. But looking at how all the other worlds have looked with its environments and NPCs, this world would be kind of a letdown, not taking advantage of all the stuff the other worlds are truly capable of. Now, of course, there is the other location in the movie, that being the Axion, which has a lot more life to it and plenty to explore, such as the pool area, the trash compactor, the captain's headquarters, and they could even make some new areas because it was a pretty big ship, and while there was a lot to be seen, we didn't actually explore everything that that movie or that spaceship had to offer. Aside from a few places might be a bit crowded on some floors with the robots that have their floor pattern thing going on, I think the ship is large enough that it could work as its own world. As for enemies, clearly the boss would be Otto. Could be a pretty interesting fight. I feel like he'd be one of those barrier type of bosses where you have to wait for a weak spot in his defense, or you just have to damage some type of machine in order to lower down the barrier and you'll be able to attack him. Of course, since he is Otto, like the main dude, he could easily summon some other robots to attack us and defend him. Our party members would obviously be Walle and Eve, which I'm not gonna lie, that would be pretty cool. But if Walle was to make it into a world, I feel like it might just be the Axion itself. I think it has enough to make it work as a world. Now, some of you might be like, nah, that's still not enough to make it in as its own world, but let's not forget we have had worlds before, like Monstro, and even Stitch from Birth by Sleep I think is a perfect example. Heck, that was just the space portion of Lilo and Stitch, which isn't even like a quarter of the full movie, so realistically, yeah, it could work. It just might not be very long, and once again, it will all be taking place in the Axion, not using Earth as a playable section, which I think I would be okay with because, like I mentioned earlier, there's really nothing going on there anyway. But the cool thing about Walle is that it's really unique, different, and interesting, and that could be exactly what Nomura is looking for. He stated multiple times that he tries to make each world as unique and different as you possibly can, and Walle would definitely fit the bill. I can totally see this world being like the one that has all like these puzzle solving type of things, which I personally despise, but seeing as how a good portion of the movie, especially at the end, is kind of like a stealth operation thing, because we're trying to hide from Otto, I could see us doing a lot of things kind of similar like in the Monsters Inc. world where we had to dodge all the lasers. A little bit of a stealth operation, if you will, type of world. So story-wise, I can see Sora or Kairi, whoever we play as, will land on the Axion, eventually bump into Walle and Eve, and like always, we just follow the story of the movie from there, with Nomura's little add-on parts to the movie. The only thing that I'd question is how will they play out the ending of the movie, because as we all know, Walle at the end, your boy ends up getting crippled and of course gets repaired when he gets back to Earth. But if we don't actually do the whole Earth section, what happens to your boy Walle? I mean, they could easily change it and just have Walle be repaired on the ship, or maybe this whole segment of going to Earth will just be a straight up cutscene, or they could just have not Walle be crushed at all, although personally I kind of want him to be crushed, only in the sense that Sora or Kairi can see that even though Walle was gone for a short period of time with his whole memory loss thing, that some connections or even memories are forever and never disappear. That's a beautiful lesson right there that I think Sora and Kairi could learn. If not, of course, we have other lessons such as, you know, how precious life is, or how something so small can make a change, or the plant represents hope, or maybe just, you know, don't be lazy. I think that's the most important thing right over there. I should probably also mention, I don't think Sora or Kairi would turn fat or turn into robots either. If anything, maybe robots, but I honestly don't see that happening. Plus, I think it'd be really funny to see their reaction of how everyone is just sitting there watching TV, like not seeing that there's life kind of around them in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, if Walle doesn't end up as a world, we could always have him probably be a summon, but I feel like Walle alone might not be enough. If they were to add Eve in the mix, then we could get something pretty cool. After all, Eve has a laser gun. I could see something like us teaming up with Eve, and as we defeat enemies, Walle will collect the remains of the defeated enemies and turn them into trash piles, and maybe we could hit enemies with those pieces of trash, or maybe it'll be something very similar in the Kingdom Hearts 3 where Wreck-It Ralph was stacking, like, you know, those brick pieces, and we'll do something very similar with Walle. Well, he'll start stacking things up like he does in the movie while he's on Earth, and we will then smash the trash pile, hitting all enemies nearby. Or maybe they could use Walle's solar power pan thing where Sora will shoot a beam of light, charging it up, making Walle's laser shoot an incredible blast. Or maybe the light itself would be so powerful that it could stun enemies nearby. Or, once again, maybe he will be flying all around the screen with a fire extinguisher that he uses in the movie, and as the fire extinguisher, the foam thing, hits enemies, it'll slow them down. Now, if Walle doesn't end up being a summon, maybe he could be implemented kind of like some of the other characters, like Remy, where he's just a character chilling in Twilight Town and Radiant Garden, and he will have something where you collect trash for him, bring it to Walle, and he will give you a reward for how much trash you collect throughout the worlds. Watch, there's gonna be a whole like how you unlock Orichallium by collecting how much trash. Oh boy, I can see it now. You're gonna hear Donald start saying, this might be a good spot to find some garbage. Oh, we gotta get people to clean up the Earth somehow. However, guys, that is basically it for this video. What I want to know in the comment section below is, hey, Walle, have you seen it? Do you think it could work as a full-fledged world, or should he just be a guest character or a summon? So, you know, guys, leave all your comments in the comment section below, and if you like the video, make sure to give it a big, massive thumbs up, as it helps me and the channel out quite immensely. So until next time, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and say, bye, pal! We'll see you soon!